Mark Preston, CNN senior political analyst. Alex Thompson, CNN political analyst, national political reporter for Axios. Megan Hayes, former director of message planning for the Biden White House. And Kristen Soltis Anderson, Republican pollster, strategist, and CNN political commentator. Welcome to all of you. I would be remiss for not mentioning that it's Wednesday, so we're wearing pink. It's wonderful to have both of you here. Kristen, let me start with you on Hegseth and how this is looking, because it does seem like what's coming out of Mar-a-Lago in the last 24 hours has really changed in tone. I think that what Lindsey Graham is on the Hill saying about him is pretty significant. Your sense of whether Trump is really willing to go to the mat as we learn more about Pete Hegseth, when apparently he didn't tell them a lot of this, and he could have.
So my sense is that Republican senators want to get to yes on as many of these choices as possible. They are not relishing the thought of a fight with Donald Trump. And frankly, Matt Gaetz, who had been nominated for Attorney General and then withdrew, that was going to be, I think, the spiciest fight of all of them. So with him then stepping down, I wonder to what extent Republican senators are thinking, OK, if we put pressure on now for some of these more difficult choices, can we actually avoid a big fight with Trump in front of the cameras during hearings? I think that's notable. That list of alternatives, folks like Joni Ernst from the Senate, very well liked in Trump world, would be very capable. But I think these senators, they're not relishing a fight with Trump. I think they'd rather avoid it if they can.
Right. Well, but pulling Hegseth out now would, of course, avoid a public fight later. I mean, Mark Preston, it's like if the list of people that's going to replace you is already out there. I mean, I mean, as the ship sailed,
by noon, you know. Who knows?
What's your sense of whether he can? I mean, this is a critical test day for him. We're expecting him to appear in the media, possibly with his mother, who sent an email during his 2018 divorce, basically saying that he needed to seek help because of the behavior that he was exhibiting toward women.
Yeah, devastating. I mean, no matter what his mother says right now, I mean, what she said initially in that email, I think was the final nail in the coffin for Hegseth. You know, not only is it an important day for him, which I think it will probably be his last day, if not one of his last days, is an important day for John Thune, right? Now, somebody who has to tell Hegseth today, listen, you're not going to get through. Like, that's his job now as a Republican leader, to try to clear the decks where there are problems, as Kristen was saying, try to get through as many people as possible. And you know what? Joni Ernst, I mean, what a twist on this. Joni Ernst is basically going to sink his, you know, we would think that she would sink Hegseth's nomination. She could be defense secretary, and she is very well liked. I mean, she is well liked.
I mean, to add to that, you know, don't look now, but the Senate Republicans may have really found their backbone the last 2 weeks. I mean, you could see if what you're saying is true, they could have quietly sunk Trump's nominees for Attorney General and Secretary of Defense, despite this reputation of like, oh, they're just like overly loyal, and they're basically very quietly telling Trump, you know, this person can get through, this person can't get through. About Joni Ernst, you know, the one thing that she's going to have to overcome is that she's been very supportive of Ukraine and its war against Russia. Right. A lot of sort of the MAGA base are very, very skeptical of her in the way they aren't about Ron DeSantis. And Ron DeSantis, you know, despite the tensions between the two, the one thing about DeSantis that I've heard appeals to sort of some of the Trump team, the guy's a nerd. The guy's a wonk. And
wait, so why does this appeal to the Trump team?
Well, because the Pentagon is a huge, sprawling bureaucracy. Right. And they feel like maybe he actually would be good for that.
Let me say this. If DeSantis does become a Secretary of Defense, I mean look, if he gets to the Senate, he will be confirmed. If he becomes in, we're talking about now a redrawing of what the MAGA political party is going to look like, you know, in a couple of years, because now Ron DeSantis is going to be taken out of Florida, where he knows he's been very successful. He's been a successful governor. Now he's going to get that foreign policy background, you know, with him. And then it's going to be JD who? You know, there's going to be...
Well, yeah, I mean, we're setting up for, yes. I mean, for DeSantis, definitely some significant steps towards another. The idea that he doesn't want to run for president again is probably, it's not realistic. Megan, but to that point, I mean, DeSantis likely, he at least has been publicly vetted in a presidential campaign, right?
Well, right, and it's easier for senators to take a vote on him, right? I think that the senators don't want to have to publicly go against Trump here. They can do this quietly, and no one knows. They don't become a target for the MAGA base or the Republicans outside that want to, you know, wage a primary campaign against some of these people. So they can. DeSantis is a person that they can take a vote on.
Yeah. All right. Coming up next here on